Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
Welcome back to Real Estate on the Rocks. My name is Dave Snowberger, and I'm joined in the studio with Marshall Tucker.
What's up?
And the new guy, James Mendez, is, like I said, back in the studio, jacking things up, making sure that we do everything twice.
What's going on?
Twice is nice.
Twice is nice. Not always. A little pause there. Everybody looked at me. What are you doing, Dave? Why are you not talking? All right, so let's talk a little bit about social media. We had some conversations earlier, which usually all of our podcasts are predicated on conversations earlier. And we always kind of like gauge the headlines and what's out there. What are people talking about these days in our industry and what's going on? And one thing that I came across was, is there too much noise on social media? And I would say yes. And I think I recently kind of popped off a little while ago on a show 2 or 3 back that we just recorded, and I had talked about people faking it until they make it, and there's way too much faking it going on. There's way too much faking it on social media going on. And so we're going to run through some tips on 5 simple steps how to clean it up, how to clean up your social media. So Marshall, let's get to it.
Cool. Well, I guess first you have to ask yourself, does this post help me in some way? How does it help the person trust me more? So there's certain things that I always avoid when I'm posting, and it's got at the top of the list is talking politics or religion, straight out the door. I never bring that kind of stuff up. Asking for the business, I see a lot of newer agents getting to Facebook and they get on there and it's just a straight up ad. Like, do you want to buy or sell with me? Mm-hmm. And people are turned off by that.
Did you just say the Facebook?
The Facebook. Did I say that?
The MySpace. So basically what you're trying to break down is...
complaining and arguing and all the negativity. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, politics, religion, bragging about yourself, asking for business, complaining. I think I'm guilty a little bit about asking for business, but I try to keep that whole 80-20 rule going, and for every, 5 posts, 4 of them are something that I think is compelling.
I would say that they're clever, though, and you're asking for the business in a non-direct way.
Right. I'll never say, use me, but I do put out there sometimes, like if we launch our website or a new website or landing page, I will put it out there and say, hey, click on this because I want to see it run through. Right. And I want to see how it goes. The other day I posted something that had just a killer property, right? And it's got a beautiful pool with a view, and the first picture on it's $1 million picture. And I put it on, and I did a little landing page and put it on my own site, which I rarely ever do. And it had brought in leads right off the bat. And I kept seeing the names. I was like, I know her. I know him. Oh my God, I know her. And I was like, oh, people on my personal Facebook page are clicking this ad. So, and it's just dropping them into a funnel for me. And I actually put on there that if you did sign up, there would be no spam, and our CRM takes over and just spams them. So I felt bad. I was like, one girl I know personally, I reached out to her. I was like, hey, Amber, sorry about that. My bad. I said I wasn't going to spam you, and the first thing I did was spam you to ask, when do you plan on selling your house? So it wasn't anything bad spam. So anyway, the next point would be, so ask yourself, does this post help someone trust me? That's the first one, right? Second one, go on a deleting spree. I would go in there and audit your social media right off the bat. If you aren't proud of it, get rid of it. It's not too late to hit delete and get rid of it. I know that James disagrees with me there because he wants to be more authentic. However, if
James wouldn't open his profile up.
Yeah, exactly. He had his closed the whole time, so he is not the authority on this.
No, I mean, I was saying for certain topics or certain things you're going to, want to post on there is like you should show the journey of what you're doing, not necessarily the end result. And so like if you have stuff on there that shouldn't be on there, like you did some crazy stuff and you documented it, you should probably clean that stuff out. But I mean, if you're doing like a sale or a property or an event or something like that, it's good to show like the journey and stuff. You don't have to delete it just because it
putting a Zip Fizz inside of a Topo Chico. Would you say that that's compelling enough?
That's very compelling.
Is that part of my journey?
That's your journey.
It's part of my evolution as a man that That's the thing I do at 46 years old. I now drop a Zip Fizz into my Topo Chico and watch it explode.
I'd say if every single one of your pictures is you doing a keg stand,
Oh my
then
God.
you probably should.
Right. So that was fun.
I bet you $20 that thing gets over 100 likes in the next 20 minutes.
Right. I haven't posted it yet. That's the thing. But I will post that just so people can see it. It was kind of funny because
it so I can win.
It was a waste of my Topo Chico and a waste of a Zip Fizz. So about $4 worth of stuff down the drain there.
It's deleted so fast.
I got about
The things that I walk in on.
Hey James, what's Dave doing?
Yeah.
Just wait.
That's what happens when you have all your listings under contract and your agents have lots of listings under contract and kind of take a day. We go over to meet our broker today, and it's not a meet and greet. It's a class, and that's not what I want to do on a Tuesday. So we bailed.
What are we learning about lunch?
That's what I wanted about to learn. That sandwich getting down in my belly
turned into a lunch meeting.
All right, so delete salesy posts after 24 hours. You said something about that. You didn't necessarily didn't want to delete them. You wanted to once again show the journey that you used to be really salesy.
No. Like show if it comes across kind of inauthentic or kind of cheesy, you can get rid of those. Just redo it though. Don't necessarily have to delete it completely. But if you say you're pitching like, hey, I can sell your house or come buy a house with me, or I just closed on this one. Just leave stuff like that, unless that's the only thing you do. But deleting shouldn't be your first response. It should be, mixing up your content, which I know we're going to cover in a little bit. 80-20. Yeah.
Yeah, I can certainly go through here and audit my social media, and I like where it started and where it's come. Yeah. My regular page has turned into, they kind of Instagram and Facebook kind of forced me to make it a business page back then, and now I have 5 business pages. I've got Dave Snowberger Realtor, I've got Snowberger Realty Group, Top Shelf Agents, Real Estate on the Rocks, and then of course my big one that gets me, a lot of the attention in that space, and the most fun one I do, and I'd say the most compelling stuff I do is Wilco Eats.
Yep.
Right. And so the Wilco Eats videos, they bring in 20,000 views, 30,000 views. And when I'm running Facebook ads and bringing those things in, I can retarget most of that audience too. That's very purposeful with the Facebook ads, but that is more compelling. And I do post that stuff on one channel, and then I bring it over into my personal channel. And I never talk about real estate during that. However, people know that I'm a realtor, so it does keep me that omnipresent. So we'll get on that whole kick about omnipresent, all that great stuff earlier. Marshall, do you agree to go back and delete all your salesy stuff? Because I know you were quite salesy for a while.
I'm trying to remember what sales. I mean, if it's this year, I haven't done anything salesy. I don't.
Yeah,
believe.
But you didn't start social media this year either. So,
but I've had it for a few years. The only thing that I was really concerned about was when I was volunteering with the state that I went through and deleted a lot of my college type pictures.
Yeah, like cake stands.
All those cake stands I was talking about.
That's why it was top of mind right there.
After I cleaned that up, I mean, most of my stuff now is family and fun. So
yeah, I mean, if you go back and you look at my Facebook page from back when I was in the bar days, I mean, almost every picture I have is me. I've got a drink in my hand, and I've got I'm taking a picture with some lady I know. Mm-hmm. It's ladies I know. So I mean, the bar business is obviously there's girls coming in and out, especially at 6th Street, Austin, Texas. It's like
people catch on to that
place.
when a beer in your hand every single picture.
I have people say, yeah, exactly, and like, my God, there's 365 pictures, and you have 300 in each one. You have a beer,
right?
And like, I have a beer day. So, and then this one speaks to Marshall big time. Stop trying to attract everyone with your post, because all you're doing really is confusing people. If you're trying to post luxury and you're posting to first-time home buyers, and this is if you're using your social media to attract, which I hope you are. I hope you're trying to attract people in and really kind of using it with your proactive lead gen to really subsidize some of the things that you do. I don't think subsidize is the right word. However, supplement. That's the word I was looking for. Yep. Supplement the things that you do through social media is this kind of stuff. And so stop trying to attract everyone. I know that I've talked about in the past that a lot of my posts were a lot to do with farm and ranch. Right. And so I was always, that's what I like to do. And I like to take pictures. I consider myself an amateur photographer at best. And I go out and I take pictures, and then I would post them, and I would drop in my logo on them real quick. And I would always post that stuff. But I was selling more residential real estate at the time. And so I was confusing people. Like, do you only sell in Georgetown, and do you only sell farm and ranch? It's like, oh no, we sell everywhere. basically in the state of Texas, we can sell anywhere, but however, we're really hunkered down to Austin, Texas and the surrounding counties. Right. Yep. And so that was the biggest thing, is so I had to back away from posting so much Texas River Ranch real estate photos and really boil down to, the Snowburger Realty Group stuff and then back to the single property stuff. And Instagram is really to help you build your brand. That's that little buzzword I hate, the little buzz phrase I hate. But however, Instagram really is for that, and Facebook's more for what, Marshall?
Facebook is more for building
an audience community.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking at my next headline. You got me.
That's why I called you out. I'll see if he's texting or not, because you have a bad habit of texting.
No, I'm on my headlines.
I get it. That's a picture of your kids. What are you talking about?
That's my background.
Oh, you're so stupid. Anyway, so stop trying to attract everyone. I would say that's a fair assessment. We had a podcast about that earlier. Marshall and I kind of had a debate about that. He said he would do business with anybody. And I really do believe we will all do business with anybody that approached us to do business. However, what our niche is, what we specialize in, what our niche is it's boiled down to Marshall is a buyer specialist, right? Can he list homes? Obviously, of course he can list homes. Right? And so, however, I'm a listing specialist. Can I sell homes? Can I work with buyers? Obviously, yes, I can. However, what I specialize in is working with a certain price point and only on one side of the transaction. That's my strong suit. My admin, her strong suit is working with the back end of the real estate business, right? She wouldn't be good out here on this end. And so I would say that Marshall Tucker and James Mendez, well, I won't go that far, but are better than me at working with buyers, right? And I would think that they would wholeheartedly agree that both of these guys, that I would more likely be a more adversarial listing agent for them to go against me with all the experience I've had in building my arsenal with getting yeses when it comes to listings, right?
Right.
I would think. So anyway, stop trying to work with everyone and doing that. Stop trying to advertise and get out there and be seen by everybody. Narrow down your focus and narrow down what you're doing. If it's not compelling, it's not selling. If it's not compelling, they're flipping past you, right? They're not paying attention to your social media. They're paying attention to somebody else's. Work around that also is really build your content around what other people like, not what you like. Some might disagree with that. I would say that's a fair assessment.
So yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's what they like, but you should, if that's your avatar, your target market, you should also be interested in that stuff too. That should be things that you naturally gravitate towards. But it's still, even though it's something you are passionate about, it should still be mostly about what they enjoy about it, because they're the ones who are paying. They're the ones who you're going after. So it should just look like them, sound like them, be for them.
Yeah. And the whole thing about social media is when you're posting and you're all over the road, it just feels random, and it just almost feels like you don't know who you are. So how are they supposed to know who you are? Yeah. Right? If you're a jack of all trades or a Jill of all trades, how is anybody supposed to know who you are if you're posting mansions 1 minute and then you're posting literature about first-time home buyers on the next page? Who do you want to work with? You want to work with 150,000 or 1.5 million? It's pretty simple. There's nothing wrong with 150,000.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Nope.
You just need more of them.
Right. Yeah. and you can find more of them. You can find more of them than you can hunt $1.5 million properties. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. I've been at this 6 years, and I know tons of people that have made it 20 years. We just interviewed Jim McCord. Check out that podcast. Jim McCord, after 25 years in the business, he finally he never had $1 million listing. His first $1 million listing was a $2 million listing. That was actually mine too. Mm-hmm. My first $1 million listing was $2.4 million. And so, and it took me years to do it, but I set a goal that I wanted to list $1 million property, and I had one, in a sense, fall in my lap that actually Marshall brought to the table.
Sweet.
So moving on, new headlines, headline day.
So the next one was our brokerage is keeping up with home buyers' online habits. So with all the stuff going around that we've all been talking about, is all the brokerages are talking about, I'm a tech company, or I'm doing this tech, I'm doing that tech, and they're trying to craft through either acquisition or their own creation or whatever to give you tech services. And so what they're saying is is that's the way of the future. You need to find somebody who's going to enable you there, and who the brokerage understands how people are buying and looking at properties. Like the majority are online, and so most people are consuming their content through their cell phone. There's still a lot that are, you know, bigger pictures, looking on desktop computers, flipping through stuff at the work. But they're saying, or what we're trying to get to is which one is more advantageous to you in the long run. Do you need a brokerage that's supplying all the tech and is tech based, or can you build the business, you know, step by step and go through it your own way? Or, you know, does that have to be your decision making, you know, process?
No, I think one of the biggest things right now is agent retention with the big brokerages. And that's why they've really deemed themselves, you know, getting into the tech game. It is. I mean, I do wholeheartedly believe that Gary Keller with Keller Williams has done a lot of this because he does care genuinely about the agent and he doesn't want to lose out on anything. And you can say that he can sit there and say that he's not afraid of iBuyers or whatever else. So why they just partner with one?
Yeah.
You know, they're not intimidated by them. iBuyers are not going to take over or whatever else. They just partnered with one, you know, and they have their own. Right. So
what's a piece of that pie?
Yeah, of course. You know, but I think that even partnering with them and finding the way to include the agent was a value play. It's that Keller Williams was hemorrhaging agents. You know, the first hemorrhage was that they announced that they were the biggest, you know, the triple threat out there, the triple crown, whatever it was. And then, you know, this big study came out about all the ghost agents and everything else that were 30, 40, 50,000 agents on the books that were no longer with Keller Williams or dead or retired or whatever else. And that market centers were kind of fudging the numbers. So they dropped it down to like 150 today, right? That's still big. That's still huge. And it really doesn't even matter about the whole ghost brokerage thing or you know, whatever else, because they still have the numbers. However, I think he has a personal goal to be the biggest real estate company out there. He really wants to have that triple crown, you know, and he wants that many. So he's providing so much value right now to his agents through tech. And, you know, we were a part of some of these labs going through all this whole thing. And I just started taking it as it was a retention pitch. It wasn't a recruiting pitch, obviously. I was already with the company, but it was a retention pitch. Like, hey, stop looking at all these other badass, you know, companies coming in that say they have this and are offering stock options and rev share, and there's Compass out there, and there's EXP, and there's, you know, there's just
indie brokerages
that are
launching
popping
stuff.
up. There's tech brokerages on this end that we haven't even heard of. You know, I was just reading about someone I've never even heard of before, but they just got $100 million funding, and it's just like, okay, here comes another Compass, you know, and so, you know, that's his value proposition right now, and it's valuable if you can nail down this whole thing and you get to offer for $80 a month, you know, for your tech fee or whatever with Keller Williams, you get this badass CRM that's capable of pulling lead generation, and they just signed on with Brivity, which is Ben Kinney's company, right? And so they've got all this stuff going on. That's tremendous value. However, at first, I would think that it's overwhelming. It's too much. It's too much for you to use. You know, it's like, okay, now I've got to become basically a tech nerd, right? I got to nerd out on this whole CRM system, this whole command system, and figure out all this stuff and get clients. You know, or teach this thing to go get me clients. And really, people are hanging their hat on that, in my opinion. You know, how do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, the tech is always important, and you need to have a back-end system. It's important to have some kind of system where you can capture people and be where they are, because they're online and majority of them are on their phone. How often, well, you even said it in the last episode, you do a lot of your work on your cell phone. So do a lot of people. Like I have the tablet and desktop when I'm at home or at the office. But for the most part, when I'm running around and doing things, I use the cell phone. And so if things are not there, that's what drives me nuts about some existing like the MLSs and stuff have horrible cell phone kind of applications for it. But it's important, but it's not necessarily the only thing you look for in a brokerage. It needs to have other aspects of it, and being proprietary versus bolt on, or bringing your own systems into the fold of your business.
Right.
I think it's all the same thing. It's just you finding the tools. As far as that aspect of it, that's the important part. Find the ones that fit best for you for where you're at. It shouldn't be like, oh, I have all these, 50 million things. Yeah, but you don't even know how to use 2 of them. So what does it
They're
really
only
matter?
as valuable as the use that they get at.
Yeah. I mean, we had conversations with some of the tech people
it's
wanting to be tech people.
It's a selling point. I mean, really is. I mean, it's a company like KW and some of the other ones out there is I'm never talking poorly about KW. However, they've got really good at agent retention and promising you things that these things you're still never going to get 100% commitment from all the other agents, right? So there's plenty of people with Keller Williams just because I'll tell you that one reason why most agents are with Keller Williams, it's because they had a damn great culture, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a reason they call it drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah, they have a name, in the business, and they have top of mind awareness out there. It makes it a little bit easier, I think, and helps you with your branding when single agents come in. And really, I'll tell you, most of the big teams are around because of the commission. They've got great splits. They've got a great thing with teams. I mean, if I can have a team and I can have 4 people under me and have one cap, and then I'm 100% after that, but 100% less the fees, which, we had a podcast that talked about the 100% brokerages and beware, so go back and listen to that one. But, it was that I stayed with Keller Williams so far because it made financial sense to me to stay there because I could have 4 agents under one cap. And then for every agent I brought in after that, it was a half cap, right? Yep. So what I'm talking about here, a lot of people don't know really what the cap situation is. Some people do. Some people roll their eyes at this, and some people will be intrigued by it. But Keller Williams, where we were, our market center, had an $18,000 cap, right? And so plus a royalty fee, but won't get into that. We'll just talk about the $18,000. So I can add an agent in. As long as I was doing $6 million of sales a year, I can add an agent in with me to help me with that, and I could keep it at $18,000 no matter what on the commission. So obviously if I had 2 agents doing that number now, I could get there a lot faster if I split that cap with one of the agents at $9,000 each, right? And then I bring in another agent, right? And then I bring in another one, the 4th one. So now essentially everybody's paying a $4,500 cap. Yeah. So is that right? 4,500? My math's off again. Here we go again.
Uh-oh. Right. But I mean, that's super important as you're scaling and stuff.
By the way, I can hear you with the rag. Oh, my bad. That mic picks up everything. So you yawning and falling asleep and waving your hand in your face is all picking up on here. So if you're wondering what all these noises are, it's Marshall's having a little... it's hot in here. He's having a little prissy meltdown about it being hot in here, and he can't just tough it out for 20 minutes. So...
Menopause.
Yeah.
Sweating.
You're not sweating. Oh, God.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of those are great aspects of the different businesses or different levels of your business. But I mean, was any of it based on the tech in the beginning? Probably was less. The tech that is there, but not necessarily that it's proprietary tech. Just the fact that there's some tech there where they can meet you on your clients can meet you on the same level, or you can meet your clients on the same level.
I'm so sick of hearing about tech because I know agents out there every day that are kicking our butts every day that use an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah. For their CRM. They're using Word. We're using Word documents. They've got an old copy of. Windows 95, pen and paper and Rolodex. Yeah, Windows 95 or Office 95. And they're just doing their thing, and they've just created great community outreach. They've ingrained themselves in the community out there, and they're just outworking everybody with everybody that's sitting here and trying to just have it easier with the next shiny object. And that's really what all these things are. Yes, CRMs are great. All right, they're kind of come out with a CRM, right? What is going to be different between Command and all the CRMs that have been out there? Because Gary did it, that's bull crap. It's absolute bull crap. So, it's kind of like the argument you always see on all these Facebook pages, like, what's the best CRM to use? And 9 times out of 10, you have some Yahoo like me. It's like going to say what?
The one you use.
Right. The one you use, right? So now you're going to have all this great stuff with Command coming in, right? So he's been able to successfully put off people for a year from leaving in the hopes that they do these kick-ass videos that are really, a big, huge marketing firm comes in and does this really hyper video about artificial intelligence and all this great stuff, and just the real estate business is changing and we're at the forefronts of it and whatever else. And a lot of it's true, they are developing that stuff, but is it going to change you as an agent? Is it going to change your habits as an agent? Is it going to help you get up earlier in the morning and get to work on time? Is it going to help you at your home that you can now work from home and you're going to get out of bed and you're going to be at your desk or your countertop or your bar, in your house, wherever you set up shop at 9 in the morning and work diligently and prospect for 2 hours? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, do you really think you're going to get to plug and play and circle things and just start sending out mailers and swipe your credit cards and leads are just going to magically come to you? No. Like, stop thinking about it like that. But that's how it's been sold. And everybody is just not thinking about really, okay, now it's here. The anticipation has been what? It's coming, right? It's coming. Command's coming. Don't leave. I wouldn't leave Keller Williams. They're coming. It's coming. You know, like what? What's coming? You know, it's like I've seen all those things. Oops.
Only tech I need is my cell phone.
Only tech I need to learn how to use is turn it off. Muting my cell phone. So sorry about that. That was the old ball and chain. No, I'm just kidding.
More chain than balls these days.
I'm gonna get in trouble. She listens to these every once in a while, or I listen to them in the car, and she's like, "Did you really just say that about me?"
Watch this one will accidentally come on.
I'm like, "It's for entertainment purposes only, sweetheart." But you know, I'm not trying to get down on KW. They're just the best example right now, right? And so we have the same thing with EXP. We're EXP agents. We came over. We didn't buy into their tech. I don't care. Like the KV Core conversion or whatever they use, I didn't care much. We have our own system that we use. We bought a CRM a while back. We use that. That's where all 5,000 of our leads, or not our leads, but our database sits and lives, and we work out of that. And so we didn't worry about it much. And people kept trying to compare. There's this big pissing war against KW agents versus EXP agents, right? And so I just don't want to be involved in it. If you want to know more about EXP, all you got to do is text join EXP to 88000. You know, that's the only plug I'll ever give. If you're curious about it, whatever else. If you want to know about Keller Williams, give me a call. I'll tell you, I like Keller Williams. I mean, I like Gene Frederick said, I wear red underwear. You know, it's like I still like Keller Williams. I love Keller Williams. If it doesn't work out with me at EXP, I know that I'll always have a home over there. Yeah. Right now, what I saw was that nothing was going on with the tech. Nothing was going there. It was this big false whatever. I'm not trying to grow this big mega team anymore. It's not that I didn't do it. I did do it. You know, I have the numbers of a mega team with half the people.
Yeah.
Not even half the people, a quarter of the people. As I can put out the numbers, I can get focused, drilled down, and do the things that I don't want to do every day, prospect, bring in leads, and close. Help more people, serve more people, and I can do that every single day, and I can put up the same numbers a mega team puts up.
Yeah. And the best tech for that is what?
And on top of that, I'm profitable. And if I wanted to go on stage and they want to check my P&L, let's do it. You know? I see these people, some people that are on stage at some of these conferences, and I'm like, I know this guy. I know he doesn't do anything for sales. You know, he talks a good game, and that's that. You know, he's a smart, articulate guy, but he's not the authority on high sales, like or units sold or gross commissions or anything like that. You know, he's new to the business, but he's got a great podcast, or he's got a great video series or whatever else, or he gets to be up on stage with these folks, and that might seem like jealousy. I'm sure some of that is ingrained in there, some jealousy in there. You know, however, I really do complain about this stuff all the time. It's like there's too many posers in our thing, and it reaches back to our first thing is the fake it till you make it. Too many people are faking it on their social media. So I went on a tangent. I'm sorry. I promise I wouldn't do it. I promise I wouldn't do it.
That's all right. Moral of the story: your best tech is your phone.
Yeah.
And then everything else you just add on as you need it. Don't try and go all out. The brokerage, if they have some stuff, great. Use it. Like we used Command to its extent as it was being built up. We were
in the
KV
Command
Core.
focus groups. We're in the Command focus groups. We were in the labs.
We were in tech I was joining tech advisors, one of the admin in one of the Command groups. Like it wasn't just like sprinkle a little bit of Command. Yeah. We were like very vested in it.
I was fortunate to be a part of that stuff early. I was in lab groups with 10 people that were 10 people and Gary Keller. And Josh was just really one of the head developers there. Yeah. And a bunch of other guys, tech guys that you've never seen before and that you don't hear from that aren't on stage that are actually in the background building all this stuff. And we sat in a focus group and we talked about this stuff and whatever. I thought that was really cool. That kept me going. I was like, man, I love being in these rooms. These people are so smart, you know? 2 years later, it's like I was still waiting on the MREA 2 to come out. You know, I was still waiting on the Red Book 2. I still am. That's a great book, and you can use that book really anywhere, whatever brokerage you're at, or how to scale your real estate, business is the Red Book. I think is still the number one book. Some people think it's outdated. Okay, well, I wanted to see the MREA too.
People aren't even following it enough for it to be outdated.
Right.
That's why they keep having the same complaints about people over and over again.
Yeah, I think Gary's Gary is very good at what he does. He is a real estate genius. I love the books. I love the Shift book. I love the One Thing. You know, and really that's the extent of what I've read. I know there's about 3 or 4 more sitting on our shelf that are just collecting dust. But I've read the Red Book, the MREA, probably 10 times, 15 times.
It's a good book.
You know, I listen to it on Audible. If I go back and we want to see how to do something. That's a big tech
thing you need to have, Audible.
Right.
Get that subscription.
That's about as tech as you need to be these days.
Pretty much.
I'm just kidding. That and a Google spreadsheet on where to store your numbers, you know, and mark all the numbers in your phone. That's what I do. I get people all the time. Someone popped up today and it said, what did it say? Brandon, whatever, buyer, you know, buyer. And then as soon as they buy, I put their address in so I can remember it. But that's my database. I know we have a huge database with 5,000 people, you know, but what I have in my phone, my 2,000 contacts in my phone are very important to me because I have numbers that all I got to do is put in, like what I do the
Inspector,
other day.
all the inspectors.
Electrician. I put an electrician the other day, and 4 electricians popped up, and it was Abel the electrician. I'm like, oh my god, I love that dude. Like I've this dude showed up, and he's like, 4 foot nothing with a mullet and like cut off sleeves and everything, and he was just an awesome electrician. Right? Yeah, and I'm like, oh, definitely, I'm gonna reach out to him. So I sent him a text, like, hey man, I don't know if you remember me. He's like, yeah, I remember you. I can get over there Wednesday. Sweet. And I mean, that's my tech.
Yeah.
All right, once again, thanks for listening to one of my tangents today. I go on them often, so just kidding.
That's why we're here.
We certainly appreciate you. Our numbers are in. We look at numbers all the time of the podcast to see if we're doing things right and we're attracting the right people over to our podcast that want to gain some value from us. So we certainly appreciate you being one of our listeners. The numbers are off the charts. We're growing exponentially. We absolutely love it. Keep smashing that 5-star button and giving us the feedback. Share it with your friends in real estate. Let them know that they can binge on this. We're up to about 75 episodes right now. Our goal is by the end of the probably by the end of the year to be at 100 episodes. I believe we're gonna pass that. So if you need us for anything, reach out to us at info@realestateontherocks.com. You can also find us over on Facebook, which is Top Shelf Agents Network. It's an open group. Send us a request. Don't forget to put in what brokerage you work for, and we'll give you we'll accept your invite. So for Real Estate on the Rocks, I'm Dave Snowberger, Marshall Tucker.
I'm out.
And James Mendez.